Take two.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I am ready.
Okay, let's start this off. Probably a couple seconds off the beginning, but oh, whatever. This show is a part of the Bumblebee Network. You can find out more information about this show or the network at bumblebeenet.com. That is BUMBLEB net.com.
The following is a Black Swamp Studio production.
Welcome to show number 156 of the Your Wow Money podcast. Guess what? She's back. It's Lady Havah. Hello, dear.
Hello, Kiro. Yes, I am back in all of my many forms today. It is Diablo, but helping me out getting started in the new season is our buddy Deadgreed.
What's up, Deadgreed?
What's up? What's up? It's your man, Deadgreed. Yeah!
Wow.
Love it.
I know you're loving it. Like Diablo's your thing, dude.
Oh, you don't even know what just happened. You don't even know what just... I had 26 death breath, and it cost 25 death breath to roll the new weapon. And I was like, okay, I'll take one more shot before the show. And I took a mighty weapon down to the cube, and I took 26 death breath, and then, you know, you got to have arcane dust and reuse refundable parts and Veld crystals. And I took all that stuff to the cube, and I said, please, RNGesus, please give me my weapon. And he said, here you go, Greed. Here's a good weapon for you. Yes. Yeah, trust me, I'm glad I had my mic muted, because I think my neighbors know that I got my weapon.
Yes,
you know it's been
loud.
a good night if the neighbors know you got your weapon.
That's right.
It's time for progressions.
All right, since we're already there, what'd you do over the past couple of weeks, Sir Lady Havah?
Work. So, here's a little bit of Havah news is... With my work going the way it is, and as most people know, I'm pretty open and honest that I've had a couple of major life changes over this year with family divorce and all that fun stuff, and children and boyfriends and wonderful daughters. And I talked to the Better Late Than Never raid team, and I am officially on a break. So I'm taking a raiding break. What this means for me, though, is that I have more time, if I'm not worried about raiding, spending more quality time with my family and turning around and using the extra time to just piddle around. So I've been doing a lot of auction house stuff. Yay! Money for the expansion. And Hearthstone. And now, Diablo, and I'm just going to play whatever and have fun. Doesn't that sound like fun?
That does sound like fun. I know.
I love the Better Late Than Never raid team, and just that kind of commitment right now. I want to make sure that they're getting their progression and they have, reliable people. And not that I'm not reliable, but I want to be a little more free spirit for a while.
Well, we also know that you are irreplaceable. So I don't think that they will replace you.
Oh, yeah, you better believe I'm still going to be here because a woman loves nothing more than, putting her 2 cents in about stuff that she's out of the loop on. And, yeah.
That's true. That's true. And that's why you're back this week.
Yeah. And not just this week, but since, we've done some adjustments to our date and time here. Mm-hmm. Sundays are much more accessible. Words are hard. So that means, yeah, a more frequent Havah.
A more frequent Havah is
you
very,
have to
very
put
nice.
up with me more often.
She's sounding a bit loopy, guys. You've been
No,
warned.
that was all the tequila last night. I just have coffee today.
Okay. We'll accept that. Okay. So, Deadgreed, apart from me, what have you been doing this week?
Well, Diablo. Played some Diablo. And I did put a bunch of stuff on the auction house, but then 2.4 came out, so I haven't actually checked my mail since I posted that stuff. So probably got a bunch of money in the mailbox and wow, but
Hey,
Diablo.
that's fine.
It's Diablo.
Who's
Diablo?
who's got time to
It's not
check a
going
mailbox?
anywhere.
Who's got time to check a mailbox when we got all this Diablo? 2.4 is fantastic. If you're on the fence, if you're thinking, maybe I should play 2.4, get in here. What are you waiting for? This is fantastic.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on 2.4 and the new season that's come out?
I think Blizzard hit a grand slam home run touchdown.
They hit a touchdown.
That's right. They hit a touchdown with the wiffle ball bat. It's really a lot of fun. Honestly, it's just love it.
Blizzard hits a touchdoon.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, there's the
whatever
name,
you want to call it, brother.
for our show.
Yes, there it is.
But no, I have successfully corrupted 4 members of the Your Wow Money podcast into playing Diablo now.
Hey,
well, I know
I
how
was already
I've played
corrupt.
before. I know,
Yes.
but I had to corrupt the other 2, and I got it done. My job's
give you
done.
Credit for that. Yes.
Yes, you do.
I got my son playing. We're lighting it up. We're about 175, pretty close to 200 Paragon right now in the season. Yes, it did start yesterday, or was that day before? Friday? Jesus Christ, what day is it?
It's Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, Sunday.
It's Sunday.
Who needs a calendar? Who needs a calendar when you got this Diablo? The sun never goes down at Diablo.
Calendars don't count for Deadgreed. Not when it comes to Diablo.
Not during D3 season.
Oh, man. So, guess what? I think I can say the same thing. I think. Although I didn't log in there today because I've just been busy doing other things. But I'll probably get in here later on tonight now that I have time. And a part of having this podcast now at 1 o'clock instead of doing it at 3 o'clock, I got time to do stuff in the afternoon now. So,
yay! Time to play more Diablo.
time for more Diablo. Very true. Which means, thanks to hanging out with Deadgreed and his son, and, I'm up to max level 70.
I'm level 4.
If you're hanging out with Deadgreed, you're going to be up to level 70 by the end of the show. Guaranteed. But yeah, I'm starting to understand the seasons. I don't quite fully grasp the seasons there yet, but I'm getting a good understanding of the seasons. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I think Diablo's doing pretty good. And I've been into the auction house. Now, Deadgreed, we have had this discussion there this past week in Discord. So, what do you think the effect of the salvage crates and all the transmog gear coming from the salvage crates is going to have in later patches or even later expansions?
Well, I mean, I think that transmog will come back. They completely destroyed transmog with the salvage crates, and once Legion comes, I think salvage crates are going away, if I read that right.
Yep.
So if you got salvage crates, I'm not saying the ones in your bag are going to go away. Of course, you can still open them.
You just won't be able to pick them up via your missions. Yep.
So what I've been doing is I just been saving mine, and I don't know, the other day Diablo wasn't out yet, so I got on and I opened a bunch of boxes, about, I don't know, 500-600, and I just got all my gear kind of stashed away. I'm kind of waiting for Legion, because once all those go away, I think the transmog market will come back, because once those boxes go away, the only way to get transmogs will be to farm it, and people don't want to farm that much as it's easier just to open boxes. So, when that goes away, I think the transmog market will come back a lot. But for right now, I think it's come back a little bit. It ain't bad right now, but I think it'll be much better once Legion comes out.
See,
a driving force to the transmog market will be as well our new transmog. Was it your clothing? We're gonna have the tab for that.
Yep.
So that people are gonna go, hey, they're gonna have a way to look up these pieces and what they're gonna look like on their character ahead of time, and they go, oh, that's really cool. Where can I get this? Let me go see if it's on the auction house first.
And some people too.
People who didn't transmog before.
Right. And some people too will look at that list and say, well, I'm a completionist. I want to fill out that list. So what's the easiest way to do it? Go into the auction house and buy the gear just for that list. Unless it's a little too expensive, but we'll see what happens. I think that I don't see the transmog market like all the way back there just yet, because there's still a lot of stuff that I put in the auction house and I'm getting a lot of returns. Like thousands and thousands of returns. So maybe it's not time yet for the transmog market, but if it's not, chill out for a bit, for at least a couple, 3, 4, 6 months, and we'll see what happens when it comes back. I'm not sure what the effects are going to be, but I just got a bad feeling that there are some effects because of the salvage crates. All right, so we got an interview to get to, but to get to that, we got to play this.
Get your news from the land of Azeroth. Here, get your news.
Now, I saw this on Facebook. There is a petition to get David Bowie commemorated in World of Warcraft. Miss Lady Havah, have you ever listened to David Bowie?
Do you not realize that I have a framed Labyrinth poster, and I'm a girl of the 80s, and my parents are puppeteers, so Labyrinth in this household is like second only to Lord of the Rings and Princess Bride. So, yeah, not only have I seen the petition, I have signed said petition. And if they don't figure out a way to have him listed as an historic Goblin King, then we have a problem.
What do you think there, Deadgreed? Should he be commemorated in World of Warcraft?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they do this all the time. I mean, they got Ron Williams on there. I mean, there's so many people in WoW. It's I put him in there. What's the take? A few little bit of coding? That's not a problem. Get him in there, guys. What are we doing?
I got a link to that too. So anybody else wants to sign it. I have not checked it here as of lately, but I think they're about a couple thousand signatures away from signing that petition. So if you want to, I will post a link up in the show notes as to how to sign that petition. But really, yeah, he should be in the World of Warcraft just because look of everybody else that's in there. I mean, seriously. Okay, so one other thing before we get to the interview. And there is a film producer, Stacey Sher, joins Activision Blizzard Studios. Now she's done some TV projects and movie projects too, with Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, and A Hateful Eight. What do you think she's going to do there? That's what I want to know there, Deadgreed.
Did you watch BlizzCon when they were talking? It was like a panel. I don't remember which one, but they were talking about the movie, and somebody asked. I think it was Chris Metzen. I think they asked him, hey, why didn't y'all just do a TV series? TV series are so popular. Why didn't you do something like that as opposed to a movie? And he said, when we started this thing, it wasn't a thing. Nobody was doing that. So, we wanted to do a movie, and, movies are great.
Right.
And they like movies anyway. But he talked about, at BlizzCon, he talked a lot about, maybe they should have done a TV series. Maybe that would have been cool. And she's done a lot of TV series, so maybe that's what this is. Total speculation on Greed's part, but just saying.
Well, I think also just having a full-fledged cinematographer, I take a look at all of the cinema-related stuff that Warcraft has put out. All of the cinematics, all of the pre-expansion cinematics, things like that. I'm going, they haven't had this before?
Yeah,
what
really?
do you mean they didn't have an actual, that word just is getting me today. What do you mean they didn't have one of these on staff already?
Well, really, they should have, I think. I don't know what she's going to do. I mean, could they actually make it?
That she could do.
I
have
know.
No doubt about that.
I know, because we're not just talking about Blizzard here. We're talking about Activision as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, any of the games.
Here's something that just came to mind when you said that. You said you don't know what she's going to do. Well, what did Vincent say they were going to do with Overwatch? They weren't going to put the story too much into the game. They were going to do a bunch of cinematics and storyboards and stuff. They were going to release it like that. They're not going to... The lore's really not going to be in the game that much of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Right,
what if they took the entire storyline of Diablo and made that a TV
Oh
show?
my God, Jesus, that would be...
Go change your pants, Greed.
Yeah, hey.
Diablo.
I love Diablo. It's so much fun.
Diablo, the TV show.
Totally watch that shit. Diablo. I'd be all over
that. It doesn't matter
Diablo,
that we all
show.
know the story backwards and forwards.
Because, well, basically, this will be a different interpretation of the story. I mean, look what's going on with Flash and Arrow, and even Supergirl. They're not the same stories.
Then imagine how if they ran the story in parts, each using the separate character types.
Right. Because it's mainly because it's going to be just an alteration or a different interpretation, which I would love to see that.
Oh, you ain't the only one.
But I think...
I was so excited about getting my dang weapon there, I forgot to tell you that I got Groot. I picked up Groot.
You picked up Groot.
Woohoo!
I was so excited, I totally forgot about Groot. Sorry, Groot. He's like running around picking up gold for me right now. He's just staring at me like, really? Really? You didn't tell
Groot's
nobody?
in
All right.
Diablo, yes. And Groot got Groot. So many show titles. Which one to choose from?
I always give you a good... that's my job. That's my unofficial You're Well Money job. help
Title Master.
Title Master. Title Master Deadgreed.
Oh my god, that's funny. Oh, you're hilarious. That's why I love you so much. You're awesome.
That you would see in game. Title Master Deadgreed. Oh, that would be good. But really, what could she do? I think that she's going to do more of more cinematics. I mean, she's going to have the entire Activision Blizzard universe to work with.
And it'll be good gosh, to a whole new level.
I don't know. You know, they've done so good with those. To me, they've done so good without a whatever the hell she is on staff. They've done so good without it. Do they need it? In my opinion, no. So, I mean, yeah, she might help, but I think you hire somebody like that, and you know, with the amount of money it's going to take to hire somebody for that skill set, I think you got a specific purpose in mind, really.
Yeah, well, you hire someone of her caliber, you're looking at taking it to another level. You did that intentionally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, to me, it ain't like they were, you know, all their cinematics were, you know, bad and they needed somebody to come in and tune them up. Shoot, you know, she can definitely bring some great skill to the team, but to me, I don't think the team really needed all that. I mean, you know, yeah, she's going to be great. She's going to help them out a bunch, but to me, they were already doing really good.
Right, so the future's out there. We'll see what she does. If it goes out to different studios for a TV series or even online series, which is what they could actually do too. 'Cause, well, they kind of been there with some of the stuff that Blizzard's done anyway, but...
Yeah, the motorcycle, they did that was an online series. The Azeroth Choppers, right? With Paul and Paul Jr. and all them. Yeah, it was... And hey, that was a good series, actually.
It was okay. I'm not... They could have done it better, but I think that's a good training session for them.
You know, at first I was mad that the Horde won the bike, but now I'm glad that the Horde won the bike, and because I bought mine, and not very many people have the Alliance Chopper. So when I pull my Alliance Chopper out, people know what's up.
It still looks like a bug.
No, the in-game version's really good, actually. I like it.
Oh man, that's why the Horde bike won.
You know, yeah, but I mean, okay, the real life version does not look good. Okay, I will admit that. I did vote for it because I'm Alliance, but when I voted for it, I said, man, this thing's ugly. It's probably not going to win. I knew that anyway, but at first I was mad that the Alliance bike didn't win. You know, I was like, man, what? Really? I mean, come on. Really? I don't get a free bike? I mean, you know me, I'm greedy. I don't want to give money for nothing, especially a bike. But anyway.
Of course not.
So,
of course not.
But, you know, now, you know, later in life, I get on my motorcycle, and people look at that and they go, "Dang,
yeah,
dang, that's something right there." But if you're on the Horde side and you get on your little three-wheeled tricycle thingamajigger, everybody's got it. It's not there's nothing special to that.
No,
I'm glad that the Horde won. Thanks for voting for the Horde, guys. I was mad at you at first, but we're cool now.
All right, let's get to this interview with the Trade Skill Master. It is with Sapu. The interview is 33 minutes and 34 seconds long. And we will be back right after that to talk a little bit about the interview. We get the first words, basically.
Now it's time for the classroom. Advice on making gold via the auction house, professions, and more.
Okay, I'll insert the add-ons here later. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna ask. You know, I was totally gonna ask about that.
Yeah, because I clicked on it and it said just nothing but zeros on it, so I'll put that in there later. No, I think I know where it's at. When files move, my soundboard doesn't quite pick up the location always, so I know where it's at. So, and I think, yeah, I will play the interview after we're done with the show, guys.
All right.
So, yep. So that way everybody gets to hear it.
Hey, for those of you that are out there listening to us live, and you're thinking, I don't want to listen to a recorded show, this interview is really, really good. So, stick around.
And the audio will be better on the recorded version than what it is here. That I can guarantee. So, anyway, let's bring it back in, shall we? And none of my audio is going to play. That's awesome. So the transition audio will be in there as well. Anyway, let's bring this back in 3, 2. Well done on the interview, guys, and special thanks to Sapu for coming in there with us for that interview. That was just huge. Just huge of him. So, what I got to ask you two is, and I'm going to start there with Havah first, should he have a backup plan for the inevitability of WoW going down?
I think it's too early to think like that. I mean, so many people use Trade Skill Master. As long as he can support it, if that's working for him and it's something he's enjoying doing, don't mess with it. Yes, I mean, who knows what's coming up next with Blizzard? I mean, if we get to the point where Trade Skill Master is no longer feasible, you know, we're gonna have the next great game at that point. So what opportunities will be available there?
Yeah, but with the way that the gaming market is right now, it's not necessarily for MMORPGs. It's more for, let's say, live action games, whether it be FPSs, first-person shooters, or, you know, whatever, like a Heroes of the Storm game. So I don't know. What do you think there, Deadgreed?
You know, when we were talking to him during the interview, he was saying that, you know, he doesn't have a backup plan, and I think he's kind of more of a, you know, just, you know, if it happens, and then he'll kind of just figure it out. I think that's kind of his plan of attack, which to me isn't 100% awesome, but yeah, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, it's you know, when that comes, I guess we'll have to see what happens, because, like Havah's saying, you never know what's coming around the corner with Blizzard. You know, and you never know, and so
yeah, yep.
It may come down. You know, they may come out with something that everybody loves. It might pull everybody back off of whatever game they're playing right now. But I mean, it's just, and WoW's not going anywhere. We know of Legion. We know of 2 other expansions after Legion. I mean, I don't know the names, I don't know the specifics, but I know that they're planning on... I mean, if you think about the way Blizzard works, let me tell you something, just in case you don't know, they are still supporting Diablo 2. no, I didn't make a mistake and say Diablo 2. Yes, Diablo 2, as in not Diablo 3. Diablo 2 that was released like, what was it, 15, 16 years ago, and they are still supporting that. They just reset the leaderboards again, like last month. So it, and WoW is still an active game that's still, number one in its genre. Diablo 2 is no longer an active game that's number one in its genre. It's an active game, but it's got a few players on it that are hardcore, but they still support those guys. They're like 16 years later, so I think we got a little while if you look at the history of what's going on with Blizzard.
Right, well, yeah, okay. No, I get you. I get you. Now, and really, I should have asked this. I didn't ask it, but I'll ask it to you guys. Do you think that Blizzard will incorporate TSM like they have with like Recount and some other add-ons? What do you think about that, Deadgreed?
Well, oh man, I'm trying to think where I seen this at, but there was an interview, and I don't know if was it with Scott Johnson. Man, there's so many interviews now. I don't remember what interview it was, but one of the developers was talking about add-ons, and somebody asked him, are y'all going to do something? Because, I mean, literally, the auction house, if you just load WoW regular, and then you go to the auction house, it's basically the same exact as it was, 12 years ago, or 10 or 11 years ago. And they've never done anything with it, and basically the developer that was talking or being interviewed said, yeah, we have no plans because there's so many great add-ons that do this so well that, for us to use resource and time would just be a waste because, why change the wheel when it's already working? They have their main little interface, and everybody else uses these add-ons in order to make their auction house what they want to have. And the gold banking community, I know I am, I know you are, I know Havah is very specific on what you want or need. And if they just ripped all that stuff and then didn't put features that you liked, you'd probably be mad, and I'd probably be mad about it. I don't know about Havah, but I know I'd be mad. If they pulled all that and you couldn't get the add-ons anymore or whatever, even if you could, but if they changed the whole interface and then you couldn't do all the stuff that we do with like TSM or other, Auctioneer or other add-ons, I'd be pissed. So I think they realize that, and I think that they know that the add-on developers really have that part of World of Warcraft just nailed down to a T. I mean, anybody that's using TSM, they know what it can do, and the potential. And I don't know anybody that's using TSM to its 100% potential, because I mean it's such a big add-on, it's such an awesome add-on, and even me, I just use certain parts of it. So I don't really see them putting that in the game at all.
Yeah, and I speak with that, since I've gone into my new role at work, taking a look at it from a business perspective. Like the developers have said, Blizzard itself and the World of Warcraft team is a finite resource. Mm-hmm. They only have so many developers, so many things, but there's all of this stuff that the player base wants. And if your player base is going to help you create it without you having to shill out any of your own personal resources to do it, that's the whole reason why add-ons exist. That's a way for them to leverage their open UI environment so players can customize their own gameplay. Granted, they have to monitor some of it to make sure it's not breaking terms of service. You know, because there have been add-ons in the past that did. But it's like, hey, look, free employees. That's how it works.
And really, because
free employees, free products. We're not having to shill out anything, and it makes the player base happy.
Right. And really, because they've technically held off on this for so long, they kind of, I don't want to say that they painted themselves into a corner, but they really let this happen. So why not just let it go? You know, just let this keep happening. So, no, I get you. I get you. I'm just saying. And, you know, what would they do with the new interfacer anyway? I mean, all these add-ons would have to update
Adjust
severely.
and...
Exactly. So it would be a big enough of a headache, you know, just to update all that stuff. So it's almost, I think it's just to a point of why even do it? You know? I'm just saying. So anyway, I think that it's time to get on out of here. Wouldn't you agree?
All right, people, it's time to end the podcast now. So, how can the players get a hold of you?
All right, Havah, start us out.
All right, guys, you can find the show live now at 1 p.m. on Sundays on Channel 2, tunein.alphageekradio.com, and on the TuneIn app.
And you could also find us on bumblebeenet.com/live at 12:30 p.m. on Sundays. I gotta adjust that time. I adjusted everything else. I gotta adjust that time.
And if you don't want to listen to us live, because we are way too awesome to be listened to live, you can hear us on Stitcher, iTunes, and where other podcast apps are found.
And if you're on the site, you can use the speak pipe at the bottom of the page, bottom of the contacts and links page now,
Yes.
to send us a voice message. Yes.
And you can find us on Twitter at Your Wow Money, Facebook Your Wow Money Cast, and on linkedin.com/n/yourwowmoney.
You can find me on twitch.tv/Lady Havah, on Twitter at Lady Havah, or send me an email, ladyhavah@yourwowmoney.com.
You can find the most awesome, coolest guy ever, Deadgreed, on Twitter at Deadgreed1812, at Deadgreed1812 Gmail, sometimes on Discord, and most likely now on Diablo 3.
Most likely on Diablo 3. You can find me on youtube.com/Joe Brums, at Joe Brums on Twitter, and Joe at yourwowmoney.com. You can also follow the network on Twitter at BumblebeeNet, and you can support us on patreon.com/BBNet, and that is tinyurl.com/YWMDIS for Discord.
Yep. Hey, and I totally forgot to do the Deadgreed 1812 story. But in a future episode, I promise, I will get to it. It's just been a lot of Diablo. My bad.
Oh, that's alright. That's alright. It happens. Alright, guys. We're out till next Sunday. We'll see you then.
Sunday!
Woohoo! Level 7.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast recorded before a live internet audience. To learn how to listen and watch live, visit tunein.alphageekradio.com.
And that is done. All right, time to hook up the Sapu interview, guys. Enjoy. You know, sometimes it is hard to get these add-ons loaded, and sometimes it's hard to understand what an add-on is. And Trade Skill Master is no different from any other add-on. With me, Joe, Lady Havah, and Deadgreed, we have with us the head of Trade Skill Master, Sapu. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Great to be here.
Excellent.
Yay, hi.
So, how did Trade Skill Master get started?
So, I don't know if any of you remember, but a few years ago, maybe 7 at this point, there was an add-on called Quick Auctions, and I was a big fan of this add-on. Actually, I started using it because there was a guide on MMO Champion about making gold, and it suggested to use this add-on. Basically what Quick Auctions does, for those who don't know, is basically what TSM auctioning and a very small portion of TSM crafting do now, where it would post your auctions, cancel your auctions, and basically tell you what was profitable to make. So I was a big fan of this add-on. Unfortunately, when Blizzard added all the hardware restrictions for posting auctions, the author sort of abandoned it. So I started my own version of it. It was called Auction Profit Master. And then at the same time, I also had this add-on called Scroll Master, which was basically what Quick Auctions did, but for enchanting. It didn't really handle enchanting very well, so I made a little add-on for that. And then once I had Auction Profit Master, I sort of started thinking, you know, what if I combine the two, and what if I add in a bunch of other things that are missing from Quick Auctions to make it a more complete sort of gold-making add-on. So that's really how Trade Skill Master was born. There's been a ton of, you know, iterations since then. If you go back and look even at the Trade Skill Master 1, it's completely different than it is now.
Yeah, because I've had Trade Skill Master 1, I think the later versions of TSM 1, and with TSM 3.1.8, which I think came out just today, there's a lot of different changes.
Yep. So Trade Skill Master 1 didn't have the groups and operations that we have today. It had auctioning operations. Well, it had auctioning groups and operations, I guess you could say. And then all the other modules sort of had their own version of what a group and operation was, and it was very sort of, you know, fragmented. So the big change in Trade Skill Master 2 was to make those groups and operations a sort of global concept.
So what's the difference between Trade Skill Master 2 and Trade Skill Master 3?
So with Trade Skill Master 3, we really liked that group and operations concept, so we didn't really want to do we didn't want to do anything too drastic with that. But we did have hundreds of user-submitted suggestions that we wanted to implement, and we wanted to make things overall much easier to use, hopefully, and much smoother and less, you know, buggy or laggy or things like that. So with Trade Skill Master 3, we took all the suggestions, we implemented, I think, like 120 of them, and we basically redid the add-on from the ground up. So there's a lot of sort of infrastructure changes that make the add-on run more smoothly and hopefully with less bugs. But at the same time, we added some brand new features. We re-implemented some features that we thought didn't work very well. For instance, one of the biggest changes was Trade Skill Master Shopping. It has a whole new interface now that's much more compact, hopefully a lot easier to navigate and easier to use.
Which I have not yet set up the shopping part yet. I got my group set up, but really getting groups set up is really just an easy thing now. Because from the way that I've looked at other YouTube videos and going through my own things there too, I found that there are a good couple different ways to set up your groups.
Yep, definitely. And we have this Trade Skill Master Group Maker on our website, which makes it really easy to copy-paste basically anything from Wowhead or any site where you have a bunch of item links, and it'll make a TSM group for you. So that's something that we're definitely looking to sort of improve on in the future, but that's a great way to make groups if you don't have the items in-game.
How does that work between the website and the Trade Skill Master add-on when you add the groups into the website and try to get up on the Trade Skill Master add-on?
So for the Group Maker, it'll give you an import string, and you basically just copy-paste that into the add-on, and then it'll add those items into the group. So there's that one manual step of copying the string from the website and pasting it into the add-on.
You know, the one thing that I would say about Trade Skill Master is, you know, as a gold maker or someone who tells people, you know, hey, you know, this is a good way to make gold or this or that, or when I tell people, hey, use add-ons. That's my big deal. Use these add-ons, because these add-ons are going to help you in ways that you cannot imagine. That I couldn't do what I do now without add-ons, and especially Trade Skill Master. But my whole thing is, when you tell somebody to use Trade Skill Master, the first thing you always hear is, oh no, Trade Skill Master is extremely, extremely hard. So I think that Trade Skill Master kind of gets a bad rep with the whole, this is a hard add-on to work, or it's an extremely difficult add-on to work. So as an add-on maker, how or what do you think about when you're trying to combat that kind of attitude versus Trade Skill Master?
So about a year ago, I think, I wrote a big long post on Reddit about this, actually. Basically, what I think is Trade Skill Master is a tool for making gold. A lot of people, as you suggested, they say, oh, I want to get into gold making, what do I do? And the usual response is go download Trade Skill Master or, maybe Auctionator or a similar add-on. And I think from some points, or from some perspectives, that's a little bit backwards from the way I see it, because Trade Skill Master is designed to say, I want to make gold in this way, and it'll make it a lot easier to do so. If you're just downloading Trade Skill Master and saying, where's the button that I press to make gold, that's not really how it works. But that's sort of what it has to become to be, new user-friendly and to be, very appealing to these new people who want to get into gold making. So along those lines, we've added a lot more sort of import capabilities. So as I was saying, you can import groups. Just recently in Trade Skill Master 3.1, you can import operations along with groups. So now, if somebody is new joining the gold making game, they can just go and grab a whole group with operations, and it gives them a nice starting point. A lot of people start with TSM's the sniper feature, which I'm not sure that's the best way to make gold, but it's a very easy thing to do. You just type in some settings, hit a button, and just watch, and hopefully get a good deal. But overall, the way I think about it is my target audience is really people who make gold and want to make that process as easy as possible. So I don't know that I think about features for that new gold maker as much as I think of features for people who are already making gold and making their life easier.
And that's the one thing about Sniper, too, is you got to be careful of what you're actually buying out of the auction house, because some of those things you try to put it back in, they just don't sell.
Right, exactly.
That really goes back to the one thing that we say nonstop on our podcast. Know your market. Do your research.
Yes.
Just because you have an add-on it's not going to make you a millionaire. You still have to put the work in. You still have to have the knowledge. You still have to have the know-how. Know your market.
Yep, exactly. I think one analogy I like to use of Trade Skill Master is like a calculator. It's a very fancy calculator. If you're going to be really good at math or science, you probably need a good calculator, but buying a calculator is not going to teach you calculus.
Exactly.
That's great. I like that.
Exactly. I think Havah's got something on her mind.
Well, I've found Trade Skill Master to be, the single source for being able to buy and sell pets easily. To be able to compare, and especially for my vendor pets, the ones that, have a static base price of what I paid for them off the vendor, makes it really easy to keep the auction house stocked, reposted, things along that line. And yeah, like the guys just said, knowing your market, figuring out what you want to buy and sell, because you can't do everything. I do primarily pets. We know Reckles for a long time had been the cornerstone of the transmog market. What is your favorite market?
So I actually haven't done a whole lot of gold making in the recent past. Over the past year or so, I've mainly been working on TSM3 rather than actually making gold. But, and actually I don't, I haven't played the game in a few years, which I'm not private about, but I don't know if you know that or not. So mainly the thing I do WoW for is Trade Skill Master. But with that being said, I did garrisons for a long time. My garrison had, it had enchanting, enchanting, jewel crafting, and inscription. So I made most of my gold based on that. I also have another character that has max inscription that I do mainly like shoulder enchants and stuff on. Glyphs are too boring for me. But yeah, that's mainly my goal making abilities.
Yeah, and the big glyphs are going away too. So
Yep.
there was a bit of a slash cry for the inscriptionist there, but
Yeah,
Blizzard
actually,
makes something.
Inscription. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Inscription is really what got me into gold making. Like right when it came out, I remember, leveling a character to max as fast as I could. Made a ton of gold on that because glyphs, everyone was buying up these new glyphs that were in the auction house. And that's really what, sort of got me into the gold making thing was inscription and basically making glyphs.
Okay, so now I kind of want to get into the ease of gold making here, especially with this little macro that all you have to do is click a button after you say type in /TSM into your chat bar. You instantly make a macro, and all you have to do is just press down on your control key and just slide down on your scroll wheel on your mouse, and you could post a whole bunch of auctions.
Mm-hmm.
Was that one of the suggestions that came up? And really, what was your thoughts when you saw that?
So, if we go back to quick auctions, when that was around, you didn't even have to press anything to post or cancel auctions. You just started the scan and it did it all for you. But then Blizzard made it so add-ons have to, or anybody has to actually click a button for every auction that you post. And the scroll wheel thing was but that's something that had been around for a while for raiding. People use the scroll wheel to spam different spells and stuff. So that was a pretty early addition to the add-on where this is a really easy way to basically click a button a ton of times without too much effort.
Excellent, excellent.
So in general, if you go to the /TSM window and you go to the macro setup tab, you can see all the different buttons that you can add to that scroll wheel macro. Generally, any button that you have to click more than once is there. Our general philosophy is that, we're not going to make every single thing macroable because it doesn't really generate any value. But anything that you have to spam over and over will definitely make macroable and make it so that you can easily, bind that to your scroll wheel macro and just spam your scroll wheel to do it over and over.
Yeah, and then that little macro typing window that they provide for you, you can't really check all the little buttons on TSM because you'll just run out of room.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, I think with that right there, that is going to be super important to come Legion, because once again in Legion, you're going to be able to take as a jewel crafter, you're going to be able to take your ore, and you're going to be able to process it into gems again. They're bringing that back. So I'm definitely going to have to use that. I'm going to have to set me a macro up. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna be the guy flooding the auction house with gems, and I'm gonna use that right there in Legion to make tons of cash. So for that, thanks.
I'm already doing that with ore.
Yeah, keep that on your server.
Dear, that's on the Earth and Ring server.
Let's see.
That's what happens. So
Let's see how many more days I have to work from home. I'll be setting up a macro while I'm working.
I would say, all in all, I'm a new user of TSM. I haven't, and people that listen to the show or know me, they know that I've used different add-ons in the past. And I recently, a couple months ago, I switched over to TSM. And I gotta say, TSM does everything that I was doing manually anyway, way easier. But my favorite part of TSM is definitely the desktop. Because that is just, that thing just gives me so much information instantly. I don't have to go back and forth, in and out of the game to undermine Journal or other sites like that. I absolutely love that feature. So I don't know whose idea that was, but I'm gonna give you all an internet high five for that, because that was just awesome.
Yeah, thanks. That's definitely something that, nobody else does, is have this desktop application, and it just removes scanning for prices completely from the equation. So yeah, that's definitely a feature that we really enjoy having, and that's been in the works for a long time.
Well, I don't know if you know how big that is, because I've played WoW. I have a job, kind of a weird work schedule where I'm away from home for 7 days, and then I'm at home for 7 days, and I don't work for 7 days, and then I work for 7 days. So For me, realistically, scanning the auction house on an everyday basis is not realistic for a person like me personally, because I come home and all my stuff is outdated, 7 or 14 days old. So I can't use any of the information used from a scan, right? So for me, having that desktop app, it just makes it actually makes TSM possible for me to actually use, because otherwise, it would be, the information I would get from TSM would be 14 or 7 days old and completely useless.
And you'd be spending, 15 minutes every day waiting for the auction house to scan. And so one other thing is, the TSM desktop application allows us to do things like global pricing. There's no way we could do global pricing completely in game because, you only see the auction house that you're on. So there's all these other prices that we can offer just because, we have this huge, website and database backing it.
And I have to say how paramount global pricing is for selling pets cross-faction, cross-server, what have you. I mean, that's bravo.
Well, I would say more than pets, because there's a lot of times that I find an item and I take it to the auction house and there's none of that item on the auction house. Now, what am I going to do as a gold maker to sell that item? You have no information now. You have an item, you have zero information on it. So the only way to do that is to leave the game and go to Undermine Journal. Now with the desktop, like you're talking about, I can just look at the global medium, and again, I don't have to log out, I don't have to log back in, and a guy who has limited time to play a game, that really helps out. That's major league for me.
Awesome, yeah.
So really, how does the desktop app work?
So basically what we do is Blizzard provides these web-based APIs, basically places that we can go and download the latest auction house data. So for European realms, they usually update that about every 25 minutes, and for US realms, it's about every hour. No idea why they're different. I don't think Blizzard knows either.
So we like to do things sometimes.
That's how it is. So we're constantly checking for new data. We download it as soon as we can, and we just process the heck out of it, generate all these prices for each realm, and then once a day we average all the realms together with some smart math and generate these global values as well. Then the TSM desktop application is just constantly checking our server to see do we have new data, have we generated new prices for this realm or for global prices, and once we have new data, the TSM desktop application will pull that down to your system, and it basically just patches it into the add-on file. The next time you load the game or you reload your UI, that new data will be loaded with the add-on, and then the add-on can use it for tooltips and prices and all that good stuff.
Which is why you need to get the desktop app. Right there. That is the guts as to why you don't have to scan the auction house in game anymore.
Yeah, and the desktop app also has other really useful features, like it'll back up your TSM settings automatically. So if your game ever crashes, you're not going to lose your months and months of work that you put into your groups and operations.
And it does one other thing too, that if you wanted like a database sheet of all the auctions that you have posted or all the transfers that you made from one character to another, you're able to do that too.
Yep, you can, so TSM accounting keeps track of basically every transaction that you make, so every purchase you make, every sale that you make, etc. And with the TSM desktop application, you can go and export that data to a CSV file, which you can then open in Excel or Google Drive or whatever, spreadsheet software that you use.
Yeah, for some reason it's not opening up in my Google Drive, but I still have Excel.
Yeah, Google
so I can
Drive
at least get that.
Fancy. Yeah.
So I have a great question. As the guy who runs Trade Skill Master, is there an underused feature that nobody really uses or nobody really knows about of Trade Skill Master that you sit back and go, why do people not use that?
There's definitely a lot of really small things that people don't know about. For instance, one of the new things we had with TSM3 is you can filter. So if you go into a group and you go to the items tab, you have this big list of items that's in the group and that's not in the group. You can now actually filter that by value. So by default, it's going to be going to go against the DB market value. So you can type like /100 gold, /200 gold, and it'll highlight everything between 100 gold and 200 gold. So if you want to sort of split up your transmog or something, some other market by value, that's a really easy way to do that. And I think there's a ton of little small things like that that people might not realize that could make whatever they're trying to do way easier.
Now, you just mentioned DB market value, because sometimes when we're setting up our TSM to sell our gems or our inscriptions, whatever, some people do type in DB market value 100%, blah, blah, blah. What is DB market value?
So DB market value, that's basically our main, bread and butter market price for your realm. So we have a fairly complicated formula for how we calculate it, but essentially it's a weighted average of the last 14 days worth of auctions for that item. So every time we download this data from Blizzard, essentially, we calculate an average of each of the items, the price of each of the items. It's a weighted average, and we remove outliers, and we do a bunch of other stuff to make sure it's not super poisonable. And then that's how we calculate the market value of that scan, of that data dump. And then we just take a weighted average of all those individual scans over the past 2 weeks, and that's what you get as the DB market value. So it's a pretty good representation in most cases of what an item is actually worth. It's mainly this whole formula and math and everything was based on the idea of buying crafting materials. So it's, if I want to make a ton of glyphs, I'm going to need a ton of herbs. So what can I expect to buy all those herbs for? It's not what am I going to buy the very cheapest herb for, but if I have to buy a ton, what's the average price going to be? That's sort of what DB market is intended to represent.
Interesting. Now, does that also come from, say, like a wowauction.com, or is WoW Auction kind of a separate thing that you're associated with?
Yeah, so WoW Auction is a separate website. We provide this TSM WoW Auction module that lets you pull their prices into the game as well. And our desktop application also allows updating for that. But that's separate from AuctionDB, which is our own market value source.
Right, because AuctionDB takes about, I think what I've seen, like about a day, where WoW Auction takes about a week.
So WoW Auction is updated once a day.
Oh, are they?
And then,
I'm wrong.
Yeah, AuctionDB will update every time we get new data from Blizzard, so every 25 or 60 minutes.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so really WoW Auction is just another option for people to use that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can tell you, as a person who's made gold throughout their whole entire playtime of WoW, even way back in vanilla, a lot of times in the past, I've gotten information from an add-on, that said Glyph of Commanding Shout was worth 300 gold, right? And what I would do is I would take a Glyph of Commanding Shout and then do a whole bunch of research and figure out, is it actually worth 300 gold? Can I sell it for 300 gold? If I put it on the auction house, am I actually going to sell it? And then I would figure all that out, and then I would post my item. But for me, with TSM, it's more of I look at the item, you say it's worth 21 gold, I put it in the auction house for 21 gold, and I don't have to worry about it because I trust the prices that the TSM add-on is actually giving me. Where in the past I hadn't actually trusted items or prices that an add-on has really given me. So I just want to say, hey, good job with that, because for me that's major for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think with the wide sort of variety of prices that we offer, within AuctionDB, I think there's 6, maybe something like that, and WoW Auction has another 4 or 6 or something. You can sort of cross compare and gain confidence that if they all agree, that's probably a good value. I guess one other thing I'll mention there is one of the prices that we were able to offer basically because of the app, and Trade Skill Master is in a very unique position of being able to offer this price, is the global sale average. And this is essentially what Trade Skill Master users have sold this item for on average. So it's not, what it's posted on the auction house for, it's what it's actually being sold for. So that's a really good reference for some of those more, rare items that might fluctuate a lot in price. You can see, oh, this is actually sold for this amount, so I might be able to sell it for that amount too.
It's true.
And again, that's another feature I'm using for pets, because the markets aren't same from realm to realm. We can see what the overall average price is, and I know I can buy it cheaper than the average price on this particular realm, but then I also know on Earth and Ring, things don't sell for the average price, things sell for an above average, and it gives me all of that data right there.
Yeah, because really that's what the average price is there for.
Yeah.
It's more of the average of what is, say, on Anvilmar, that the price of what you're selling is lower, where on Earth and Ring, the price of what you're selling for is higher of the same thing.
Not only comparing just realm to realm, I'm comparing each of those to the global as well.
Right.
That global is very handy, especially when you get that spotted blowfly that no one has on your auction house. You have no idea what to post it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
So then, and if you've never sold one, then you can go, well, this thing's worth 625 gold, and you can have the confidence to put it in for 625. Where in the past, you just kind of got to take a stab in the dark and just try to guess what the price would be. So for me, that's awesome.
Yeah, it takes the guesswork out of the auction house, which saves you a lot of time. We say do your research. This is just our tool to make your research faster.
Yeah.
And that's the way that TSM is set up.
Absolutely.
Now, I do want to go one other direction here, because I know that you're a part of the consortium, which is basically just a huge forum on stormspire.net.
Mm-hmm.
Who created that, and what is your role in the consortium?
So the administrator of the consortium is Sterling. He made it way before, well, maybe not way before, but significantly before TSM was even a thing. And basically, when we started to make TSM, there was a lot of people interested in it, and he invited us to have a subforum within the consortium. So over the years, we've grown from one subforum to a whole, section, because Basic Master is popular, surprisingly. And my role is really just maintaining and moderating that TSM section. I don't really dwell in the rest of the forum too much.
Okay.
But I live and die there. There we go.
I think a lot of people do, because that's still, like what you said, it's a huge section within the consortium, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now a lot of really common place for Trade Secret Master discussion is the WoW economy subreddit. That's another thing that I frequently, read through and see what people are doing.
Which is something that I need to go through there myself, I think. Because I do a whole lot of stuff for myself, and my time is just limited.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned importing groups and things, do you find that that's really going to be a resource for finding common groups and things for people?
Yeah, I have sort of this pipe dream, I guess you could say, of what I would want to see in the future for TSM. And basically what it is, you can go to the TSM website and see the different markets that people are in. So for example, Glyphs, Battle Pets, Transmog, these are all different sort of unique markets with their own, their own positives and negatives, I guess you could say. And since you can now export groups and operations together, maybe it could have, this is the most common group and this is the most common price that people sell stuff for and stuff like that. And you could just download it and try it out and see how it works on your realm, or even the site could tell you, hey, glyphs really suck on your realm, maybe you shouldn't go into this market. That's something that I think would be really cool. That's a ton of work to do. I don't know if that'll ever be done, but I think something making that decision of what market to go into and that research easier is something that we're definitely looking into.
I am kind of curious, Sapu, with Legion coming, if you're going, are you going to get back into World of Warcraft once Legion comes? And if you are, what are you most looking forward to in Legion?
No, I'm definitely not going to get back into the game. So I actually haven't played since Wrath. I had Wrath was sort of interesting for me. I led a guild at one point, and then I joined a guild at another point, and then I sort of got tired of raiding, and once I got tired of raiding, the only thing that I enjoyed in the game was making TSM. So I don't think I would ever go back to raiding and stuff. There's other games I enjoy more, I think, and I don't really have the time to dedicate to things like raiding or PvP or things like that.
That's totally understood.
So yeah, there's nothing specific that I'm looking forward to in Legion. I'm mainly just focused on what it means for TSM and, things like profession changes and UI changes and stuff like that.
Okay, so do you think that TSM could go to other games then?
So I thought about this in the past, and I actually started playing WildStar for a little bit because that game uses the same language for add-ons as WoW does. But I don't really think I could spend enough time to make something like TSM for another game. and any time that I spent on that would just be taken away from TSM. So I'd rather not, sort of spread myself too thin. And right now I'm just focused on TSM for WoW.
Well, what my thinking is, WoW's going to die there at some point. So maybe TSM could actually move over to something, to like a WildStar or a Rift or some other game like that.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have any plans once WoW dies. I don't really have a backup plan, I guess you could say.
Since TSM3 is relatively new, it just came out not long ago, is there a feature in which you were trying to push for TSM3 but didn't get into TSM3?
So some of the things that we're still working on are like gathering. Bart, one of the other developers, is mainly focused on that. I'm not super involved in that feature. There's also some like warehousing. I don't know if you've heard of the dumpster add-on, but there's some things like that we want to add to TSM that didn't quite make it into TSM3.
So does that mean that there will be a TSM4 in the near or not so near future?
So TSM3 I thought would only take 6 or 9 months, and it took over a year. So we're obviously very bad at estimating how long these major releases are going to take. But regarding TSM4, actually, during TSM3 development, we had a few ideas of what TSM4 might be. There's no plans on starting that anytime soon. Most of these new features will probably just be, like TSM 3.2 or 3.3 or things like that.
Okay. It's like what we said, that we're on 3.1.8 now.
Right.
So,
yeah. Just real quick, the way the version numbers work is 3 is like the, generation, like Trade Skill Master 3. 3.1, that's like the major release. So in 3.1, the major new thing that we added was the ability to export operations along with groups. So that 0.1, 0.2, etc. introduced new features to the add-on. So we'll be making a lot more of those releases. Like TSM 3.2 will add more features, and likewise for all the individual modules. And then the 3.1.8 means we've found at least 8 bugs in 3.1 that we fixed.
Interesting.
Yes, and the things that are coming will be very interesting too. But one more thing before we go is you now have something that's called Trade Skill Master Premium. What is that?
So Trade Skill Master Premium is basically just a way to support TSM and get some awesome extra features. So let's see, I'm actually going to pull it up because I don't remember all the features off the top of my head, but some of the things are you can search for items that would normally only be on the black market auction house, and it'll show you what realms all the realms that item is on. So if you're looking for some super rare item, you can just search for it on our website and see which realms it's currently posted on, and then maybe go buy it if that's what you want to do. Some of the other features of Trade Skill Master Premium are like the desktop application will automatically update your add-ons. It'll also sync our Great Deals page, that data from our page, to your add-on, so you can easily just click a button and search for all the great deals on your realm, and you get ad-free browsing of our website. You get a tag in IRC, so you get sort of premium level status in our support channel, and a few other things like that.
And go ahead.
And it's only $2 a month, so pretty cheap.
That's what I was about to say. That it's about $2 to $2.50 a month, which is pretty cheap.
Yep.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, when we were thinking of the price, we looked at other things like Ask Mr. Robot, for instance, and that's priced around the same range, and we think that's a great way. It's very. Trade Skill Master is not going to cost as much as the game itself, so $2 a month. There's not a lot of reason to consider that necessarily. It's not a barrier to people getting premium, I don't think.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for the interview, sir. Where can we find you up on the internet?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. Personally, I'm at Sapu94. You can also find at TSM Add-on on Twitter. That's a great way to follow us, get updates. We're going to be doing a ton of sort of community events. We're even starting a newsletter, which we'll post about on Twitter. And you can also find me in the IRC channel. So if you go to tradeskillmaster.com/site/chat, you can get access to that. And that's pretty much it. Those are the best ways to get in contact with us.
Excellent. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem.
That is it, guys. And it is time to shut down Alpha Geek Radio. So here in a second, as soon as I get everything up. So goodbye, Alpha Geek. We'll see you guys next week at the same time. Todd, if you're listening, I don't think the schedule's right still. I'll check on it here in a bit, maybe sometime today. But we'll see you guys later. And for everybody else, once again, thank you for showing up. I'm going to stop the stream right now. So just like